Good morning. If you're not shoveling out your driveway right now, welcome to DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou. It's Monday, January 26th. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, John. Nice to
Good
see
morning,
you.
Ted. Nice to see you, man. But this snow situation is just not for me. Look at my hair, and I didn't shave or anything.
Uh, yeah, no, I feel you for sure. But at least we're not in Minneapolis where it's
Yeah,
both hot and cold at the same time.
and
Um,
yeah, we're not in danger so much of getting shot today as we would be in
Probably
Minneapolis.
not. No, probably not. So we'll dig in deep into Minneapolis, of course, the military purge in China, and some breaking news out of Gaza. Israel has reopened or is reopening the Rafah border crossing to Egypt. What does that mean? The Israelis are not promising that this is a two-way trip. If you choose to avail yourself of this crossing, you may not be permitted to return home. Um, John, should we do some questions? Should we maybe we should just launch into Minneapolis? I mean,
Sure.
I gotta say, so obviously, in a way, you can't even make this stuff up, right? First, they shot a woman named Good. Now they shot a guy named Pretty. You know, what's next? Maybe the ICE guys have to start renaming themselves as like asshole or shithead.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, the thing is you're starting to see the cracks starting to form. I mean, the administration and its allies have been stonewalling like crazy for the last like few weeks as this crisis has spun out of control. All they've done is added more fuel to the fire by sending in more ICE agents to Minneapolis, where they are obviously not doing a good job, to say the least. And so now, the usual stonewalling just doesn't seem to be working anymore. Republicans are in the House of Representatives and in the Senate are starting to make threats about possibly causing a government shutdown on Saturday, January 31st. Right? They're
That's
going
right,
to
Senator.
they
Yep.
want to withhold funding. They wanted to a la carte it and just have a vote where they could vote for the whole budget except for Homeland Security. But then they decided not to. The Republicans said, no, we will not do that. You either vote for the whole thing or you don't vote at all. Looks like, I don't know, with the way that they caved on the ACA subsidies, who knows if the Democrats are capable of following through on a threat. But the point is, you can definitely see the narrative changing. The New York Post, which is Rupert Murdoch's right-wing organ in New York, they over the weekend they literally on a couple of occasions stopped covering the story in Minneapolis, even though it's obviously the lead story in the nation in every media outlet. And today, their lead story is about Minneapolis, and it's all right wingers and Republicans basically calling for investigations or saying that ICE should leave Minneapolis. I mean, clearly they have lost this narrative. I mean,
Yeah,
I think this feels like a Kent State moment for the administration.
you took the words right out of my mouth. This is Governor Rhodes in Kent State all over again. And I want to add too that if it looks like a cover up and it smells like a cover up, it's cover up. But the thing is there's no statute of limitations on murder.
Mm.
And so Donald Trump can pretend all he wants that this guy Pretty was the aggressor. We watched the video. This guy was executed in cold blood in full view of 100 people. And it's on tape. And so Donald Trump's not going to be president forever. Eventually, the state is going to be allowed or be able to conduct an investigation, a real investigation. The FBI is going to be ordered to cooperate. ICE is going to be ordered to cooperate, and people are going to go to prison.
But it's going to be hard, right, for
It'll be hard.
prosecutors and investigators.
Sure.
Evidence has disappeared,
Mhm.
will have disappeared. It will have been destroyed.
Mhm.
Witnesses will have moved away, been
Yes.
hard to locate, will have died.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, by the way, my take on what happened here is that there's basically up to 10 ICE guys, basically on top of this dude. He never pulled his gun ever, despite what Republicans keep saying on social media. There's no brand. If you bring a gun and you brandish it at the cops, they can shoot you. Sure, agreed, but he didn't. And so anyway, so my take is they take the gun away from him, and because these are not cops and they're not trained properly, they don't scream. The guy who takes the gun should shout clear, but he doesn't. There's no, and instead someone, maybe him, maybe someone else shouts gun, probably another one. And at that point, they all open fire because they think they're under threat.
And when they open fire, man, they don't shoot once.
No.
They shoot 10 times. Yeah.
The guy's lying on his stomach. He's clearly been disarmed, and he never made a move for his gun. I don't think he would have and no matter what, Secretary Noem says, there's no way that he was going to, his intent was to confront law enforcement. His intent, he was there, he was recording like a lot of other people. And then he was shocked when an ICE agent gratuitously, brutally, viciously shoved this woman for no reason whatsoever. She's just standing there.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not in his way. He's not trying to get past her. She doesn't bug him. This is for fun that they shove her. And so he's shocked. And like any red-blooded American man who's raised to defend women properly, he tries to intercede, and then they go after him.
It's exactly what happened. And another thing too is that Minnesota is a concealed carry state. He was perfectly within his rights to have that gun on him. It is his constitutional right to have a gun on him.
By the way, what is it? Is the Second Amendment, is the right now trying to argue that the Second Amendment only applies if you're a right-wing Republican?
Exactly.
Because, I mean, it seems like that's what they're arguing. Kyle Rittenhouse, showed up with an AR-15 long gun at a protest. He crossed state lines. He didn't even bring his own gun. Okay, he didn't have any permit at all to have it anyway. But he's a hero to the right. Right wingers brought guns to the Charlottesville protests, the Unite the Right. They argued this is totally. I know it's a little creepy, but it's our right. It's our Second Amendment. So how come the Second? I mean, are they so retarded that they don't know that if the Second Amendment can be stripped away for liberals, it can be stripped away for them too?
After George Floyd was killed, I tweeted, and I did this in a moment of anger. I said, I urge every black man in America to arm himself immediately. And the fallout was ridiculous.
Black people threatening the right to arm themselves?
Exactly. It is their constitutional
They probably need
right.
it more than the rest of us do.
Well, but it comes back to your point that for many on the right, it's okay for them to be armed.
They want First and Second Amendment rights. Exactly. They don't want anyone else to have them.
Exactly.
But it's either for all of us or it's for none of us.
Yes.
The state would love to get rid of the Second Amendment. They would love it.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, right wingers who play that narrative, like, well, don't bring a gun to I mean, there's many, there's many possibilities. I mean, I'm sure lots of people in that crowd had guns.
Yes.
I mean, it's Minneapolis.
It's Minneapolis. There are hunters there.
Yeah.
A lot of people hunt.
Yeah. And Minneapolis can be a sketchy city. There's a lot of carjacking. I mean, it's not a bad idea to carry a gun.
My brother lived in Minneapolis for 9 years. My sister lived there for 15 years. And I used to go up to visit them in the summertime. My brother played a gig one time. This is before he became famous and rich. He played a gig and he stopped at a gas station at like 2:30 in the morning to get gas. And he went inside to pay. You couldn't pay at the pump in those days. He went inside to pay. And there was a woman behind the register and she was just standing there and she appeared to be very frightened. And there was a guy standing off to the side, just kind of standing there. And my brother whispered to her, "Are you okay?" And she just nodded. And he said, "Do you want me to call the cops?" And she went like this. As soon as my brother drove away, that man killed her.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He was her estranged boyfriend. She had broken up with him. He hunted her down at her place of work and he killed her. My brother was identified through the security cameras and ended up having to testify at the trial. And while he was on the stand, the guy just screamed out from the defendant's table, "I should have killed you when I had the chance."
That must have really helped with the jury.
Guilty.
Yeah, good. I hope he never gets
But
out.
yeah, Minneapolis is like any other big city. It's got serious problems.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, Ron Kuby, the famous left-wing attorney, friend of mine, on my Facebook, he said, I'm thinking that now the Minneapolis police has an ethical duty to use deadly force if necessary to defend the citizens of Minneapolis against ICE. I mean, if ICE is gratuitously gunning people down, I think he's right. I think
I have to agree.
I mean, basically ICE, you can't view them anymore as like, well, they're not really law enforcement officers. They're criminals.
No, they're not. And it's
they're the rioters here, by the way. I love how basically Fox News keeps saying rioters, and then they'll show the video of a crowd, and there's no flames, no one's even running, people are standing still. I mean, have they forgotten what riots look like? I know what riots look like. LA was a riot. That's not a riot.
Got that right. Yeah.
These are peaceful protests.
And the founding fathers gave us the Second Amendment to protect ourselves against tyranny, including government tyranny.
Especially government tyranny.
Especially.
Yeah. All right, I know Robbie has a few thoughts about this.
Boy, does he.
And I think we should bring him in if he wants to talk about it.
Who, me? No, never.
Yeah.
No, it's not like I have opinions. No, I was watching a lot of the videos for what happened with this guy, and I know that he was carrying a SIG, and most SIGs do not have a safety. A lot of them, several models do. Most of them don't. They kind of go along with the Glock model.
Yeah, there's even been some lawsuits about this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends on how proficient you are with firearms. But I have a Jericho 941. It's the Desert Eagle, that John wants to get. But I've got mine in 40 because I'm in Montana. We got bears. 9mm. It's going to piss a bear off. A 40 will do the job.
That's right.
The reason why I bring this up is that whenever you carry a semi-automatic pistol, the default once you put the magazine in is that you have one round in the chamber, and then of course the magazine is full. If your gun has a safety, you turn the safety on. It's called condition 2. If you don't have a safety, you're automatically in condition 3. So what that means is you pull the trigger, it goes off. It looked like what happens that the ICE guy who disarmed this pretty guy had no trigger discipline. His glove was right there on the trigger guard. He discharged the gun. He shot the pistol. That was the first shot that you heard. Then the ICE guys lit this guy up for no reason at all. The fact that the Trump administration is lying about this, and they are lying about this.
And couldn't they have just said, if they were properly trained, they didn't give him a chance, like, sir, could you please hand over your firearm? The guy snatched it, right?
Well, of course. Well, here's a big part of the problem. I support what ICE is doing. We need mass deportations, like to the scales of hundreds of millions of these people need to go away. That's my stand.
There are not hundreds of millions of them.
Figure it out. Millions in. We'll round it down. Millions in. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can be a deportation hawk like I am, and not have a militarized police force, if you're a cop but you're dressed like a soldier and you're trained like a soldier, provided you're trained at all, and if you're armed like a soldier, you're going to act like a soldier. Soldiers don't make good cops. That's the whole problem. That's the issue. And the fact that Trump and his acolytes on right-wing media are going out and saying, they sound like gun control Democrats. Well, why are you taking a gun to a protest? Because it's my right as an American citizen. That's why. If you don't exercise a right, you lose it. That's the whole point. And the fact that Trump is pushing this, it's lost some gun owners of America. It's lost him to NRA. He is blowing up what's left of his coalition, and it's really starting to show who are just Republicans and real honest to God right wingers who actually value what the Constitution says. Jack Posobiec is a complete sellout. Matt Walsh, same thing. They go and they pretend like they're small government, right wingers. They want to be me. They're not me. These are Republican sycophants, and you can tell it by their rhetoric.
I have a message for the right wingers, right? Like, and I just tweeted this out this morning. Like, listen, I know you don't want to become Democrats to fight. This is a fascist state. It's a state that is rising into fascism. It's feeling and looking like Germany in 1933, 1934, where you still had the veneer of like constitutional law that they inherited. You still have the old judges, you still have the courts, the cops, but you're ignoring those laws because you now want to do whatever you want to do. That's the rise of fascism. It's state violence, right? Like, if you want to fight that and be against that, you don't have to become a Democrat. You have to become a leftist, and they're not the same. But you don't have to become a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. Become a leftist.
Well, here's the big problem, though, Ted, is that people on your side of the aisle have been calling people like me on my side of the aisle Nazis for 8 years.
No, we haven't. Not us. That was the Democrats.
Okay. Well, then y'all need to do a better job with your branding.
Believe me,
here's
Democrats
where
are
we are.
the biggest enemy of the left. They're worse than the right.
But see, I mean, here's the biggest problem, though, is that, for example, let's say we go with the Ted Rall model. We abolish ICE. What happens next? Just great amnesty?
I'm not saying no. Just so you know, like if the Soviet Union, communist, a socialist country, they vigorously defended their borders and deported illegal aliens. And you might say nobody snuck in. Oh, people snuck in.
No, they did for sure,
from places like Afghanistan. And they were like,
you have to
border. You're not a nation state unless you need some sort of entity that does what ICE does, but just not the way they're doing it.
I agree. But I'll tell you right now, the reason why so many people on the right are willing to give ICE a pass, at least up till now, before Trump shows real colors and showed that he's not only a moron, but he's a fascist,
and he surrounded himself with fascists, which is actually more concerning.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he doesn't have anyone that disagrees with him. The issue that we have is, let's just assume that ICE gets defunded, everything else happens. What happens to the migrants that are here? Reagan gave us an amnesty 40 years ago, and things have only gotten worse. If you're on the right like me, you see this as the one chance, the only shot that we have.
I get it.
To get mass deportations.
That's such a crock, Robbie. Obama deported far, far more people than Donald Trump ever deported, and you guys were unhappy then.
Because he didn't deport enough.
He deported a factor of how many times more than what Trump deported.
No, I agree with you, and that's one of the things I asked Ted on Twitter yesterday. Is that where were the lefties protesting when Obama was doing this, or did he get a pass because of his skin color?
Yeah, no. Well, maybe he did. I agree that you got to follow the law here. There's a way to immigrate to this country, and it's got to be within the confines of the law. But Obama was the deporter in chief, and we're not talking about deportations. This isn't a question of deportations. It's a question of federal overreach.
No, I agree. Oh, I'm right there with you. But I'm telling you right now, though, this is why that a lot of people. So it's a couple.
Donald Trump has completely. He has shot you in the back in the same way that he shot Alex Pretti, because he has discredited the anti-immigrant, nativist, nationalist, whatever you want to call it, the idea to put America first. He's discredited that whole idea by basically creating ICE not as a deportation force, but as a goon squad.
I agree. And there needs to be major reforms. This is someone who wants, I want every single immigrant in this country deported.
I don't really think Donald Trump cares that much about deporting illegal immigrants. I think Donald Trump cares about, waving his dick around and telling other people what to do and making everyone scared to death of him and his government.
Yeah, and I wish I could say you're wrong, but you're not. I think that you're right. I think what this is that Trump just wants to, whatever reason, he wants to just, he wants a strong, centralized federal executive. That's what he wants. And as a
Yes.
right winger, that's the absolute last thing that I want.
And as John pointed out for last week, before the weekend, about his meeting with Ilhan Omar, the Democrats are salivating. That's what you said, John. They're salivating to inherit this, executive, powerful, imperial
'Cause they won't change
executive
anything.
branch.
They won't change anything. Hey,
They
guys,
love it.
we need to thank some people here.
Yeah, let's
Sodan,
do it.
Sodan, thank you for $50. He says, John, Ted, good morning. What would we rebuild public trust for this administration right now? I feel sick to my stomach about this, and I feel it's going to get worse because of who the president has in his ear. This is truly
Yes.
sad. Absolutely, totally, completely agree.
Well, let's answer his question. What would
Yeah,
rebuild
how does
trust?
it
Well,
get
first of
better?
all, as you know, it's a cliche for a reason, because it's true. Trust is hard to build and easy to destroy. Um, Look, I think the credibility of the administration is in the toilet. And I think that the crisis management response here would be twofold if I'm advising the president. It would be, first of all, come clean, be JFK after the Bay of Pigs, go to the American people and just say, I was rotten. My people and we lied. We weren't fair. It's got to change. We can't we can't treat people like this. That doesn't mean anything but the policy is still the policy, but we're going to do it better. I think also some heads got to roll. He's got to probably get rid of the press secretary and Kristi Noem.
And firmware, thank you for $5. There are, per DHS, 11 million so-called illegals in the U.S. 330 million citizens. That's less than 3%. This is a non-problem, but is used to elicit hatred. I have to agree.
I don't know that it's a non-problem. I mean, 3%, 3% can really affect the unemployment rate if you think about it, right? I mean, the unemployment rate, the official unemployment rate is around 4%, right? I mean, 3% is not insignificant.
Yeah, but also consider, I agree, but also consider how many of those jobs are jobs that Americans just simply won't take. I know Robbie has disagreed with me on this in the past.
Yeah, I'm on Team Robbie here.
How many Americans are willing to pick fruit in the fields in California or work in the Purdue plants in North Carolina?
You got to pay them, John.
Pay them.
I mean, it's like anything. I mean, I don't understand. Hey, I would love my own hovercraft, but I can't afford one, so I don't have one. Right. Well, if I'm an if I want to start a business, let's say I'm a farmer, I want to have strawberries picked. Well, it's like, and I want to hire dudes to do it. I got to pay. I got to find out what is the minimum amount of money that people will take to do that for me. How is that? So if you can't afford that, then you can't afford to farm. The end.
Yeah, but then it's the same people who are going to bitch about food prices.
Well, I mean, prices will go up with more expensive labor. That's inevitable.
See, right now, though, the issue is that prices are going up, but wages aren't. I mean, that's the whole issue.
I don't think immigration is the only reason here. I think
I
think it's a tertiary reason at best, but it's still, it's a contributing factor. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it drives. Here's a truism, right? It is. My entire life, it has always been hard to find a job in the United States of any kind, no matter how well educated or charming or anything you are. Getting work is hard. Getting good work is almost impossible. Getting work that allows you to pay your bills and maybe save, almost impossible, more impossible than that. That's always been true. So you put people in that situation, and people might be like, well, we're all in it together. That's just how it is. But when you start importing foreigners and then you're competing against them, that makes people see red. That's why they're so pissed.
And one thing I want to point out here, because I see a lot of comments of people calling me a racist. I want to make something incredibly clear here. My stance on immigration has absolutely nothing to do with the color of your skin. I don't care if you're mass importing people from Poland or from Germany. As long as you have one underemployed or unemployed American who wants a job, the last thing you should do is be importing, how many tens of thousands or whatever the number is, who the hell knows at this point, to compete with those Americans trying to get that work. That's the whole issue. For me, it's economic. We have Americans living under every single bridge in this country. We have Americans who are underemployed. We have Americans who are working 2 or 3 jobs because they can't make enough to
3
pay
of
the
them are
bills.
right here, by the way.
This has nothing to do with
Underemployed.
race. This has to do with rebuilding the American worker.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the whole issue. NAFTA hollowed out the entire middle of the country. Immigration hollowed out the southern agricultural field. So you have all this. So you have all these people who are coming in legally and illegally. Corporations want it because they want to drive down the wages. Now, one thing that needs to be brought up. I think if you're an employer and if you hire an illegal, you should go to prison. I mean that sincerely, because
I don't have a problem with that.
Because you are ripping off you're ripping off everybody. The government's not the government's not getting taxes.
People go to prison for a lot less. I'm looking at one of them right now.
So I mean, this is not just on the migrant. No, I understand the impetus of wanting to come in and get a better life for your person if the country that you live in sucks.
Yeah, that's my disagreement with me, Robbie, is that you seem to not always be sympathetic to the fact
because I'm not.
Those people are being used and cheated and exploited just like the rest of us.
I agree. And that's why I have no problem at all with throwing the business owners into the gulag. Maybe send them to the tender embrace of Northwest Montana or to the tundra of Alaska.
Supply side prosecutonomics.
Yeah, I mean, no, make it happen. But the point of the case is that we keep the argument that John, you just made. These are people who are doing jobs that Americans won't do. It's because you're not paying the Americans to do the jobs. Are wages will prices go up if you start paying people what they're worth? The answer is yes. But what else is going to go up? Wages. And right now, that's the problem. This is not a racial argument. This is not a racial thing. This has to do with economics. We are importing. We are importing. How many thousands of coders do we have from India to come in and do jobs?
That drives me absolutely insane.
Are Americans too stupid to code?
That's inexcusable. Yeah.
Are Americans too stupid to work on farms?
No, they're not. Some of them are just people who have the sin of being over 35 years old. So Silicon Valley won't hire them.
Yeah, and calling me a racist isn't really winning the argument. What you're doing is you're proving that you can't compete with mine.
Robbie, thank you very much. We will see you again. Let me know if we have an ad. Okay, so we got some more comments to get through here. John McGuire, great question for you, John. I see that some ICE agents are taking the whistles and words personally and respond as they would in a bar fight. John, what kind of training did you receive to not take things personally? Yeah. And it's so true, right? Like, I mean, and that's, by the way, one of the defenses, one of the Fox people say, like, they call them names. They're under a lot of pressure. I mean, talk about snowflakes, but I mean, they're babies, right? But it's like, okay, but it's true. I mean, you got to get training to be like, to let it roll off like, off the feathers of a duck. So yeah, what did you get training like that?
Yeah. The training was to run away. Seriously. They used to tell us all the time, get off the X. If you feel like you are being drawn into something that could spin out of control or put you in over your head, run away. They would just beat this into us. There is no shame in running, because what's the alternative? You shoot somebody in the head. Mm-hmm. I remember one instructor saying,
or they shoot you.
Or they shoot you, even worse. I remember one instructor saying, do you have any idea how much paperwork is involved when you shoot someone?
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. No.
Get off the X and get out. That was the training.
Thank you very much for the $50, John McGuire. I should take a page from the IRS. The IRS jails 500 people a year. Every year they collect more money than owed. If the IRS started hauling old ladies in for unclaimed bingo winnings, they would lose their mandate. Paperwork is more powerful than physical force. And that's how this was pretty much done, right? I mean, until now. I mean, it's not like like you pointed out, John, under Obama, many more people were deported. This was handled administratively. I mean, and like if people run away, like you would say, you can catch them. I mean, we live in a surveillance state. We have license plate trackers. We have facial recognition software all over the place. I mean, the vast illegal immigrants, commit real crimes. at a lower rate than American citizens. So it's like they're not really dangerous to have them out on the lam. Just like pick them up later when you have the chance.
Yes, it's true. It's
Um,
true.
Also, another thing is if you're going to deport people, I think they're more deportable if they know like you would give them 3 months to like finalize their affairs and sell their stuff and ship stuff home rather than think they're going to be snatched off the street at a moment's notice while their kid is in school waiting for you to pick them up, you know?
Yeah, that's rough.
Soden, thanks for the 1999. The reason why Obama deported so many is because many of them had a final order of deportation. ERO wasn't picking people up from the car wash. They were deporting criminal aliens who had extensive criminal records. I mean, that more so than this, yes,
Yeah.
although not exclusively by any means. And
Right.
that was the theory of the Obama policy.
That's
Is-
right. Why do you think, Ted, why do you think that there wasn't really much in the way of an objection when Obama was doing? I remember when Obama was deporting all these people, and people even back then were calling him the deporter in chief, and nobody really seemed to care. Why was that?
I think there was a lot. I think there's hidden nativism among liberals too, who feel like Robbie does about like they don't like competing with these people for jobs. But you know, the victims, the deportees, they were Latino, like overwhelmingly, right? And white America didn't care. And also, look, when a Democrat is the president, the brunch Democrats don't say shit about the abuses or anything nasty that the Democrat does. They didn't say shit. You know, they're the same people who are pissed off about the Venezuelan boat dronings gave no shit about the Waziristani, car dronings, right?
Yeah.
They did not care. And so basically, like, when your guy that you voted for is the president, you just basically close your eyes, you turn a blind eye to everything they do. And then you scream about the very same things when the other guy becomes president. It's team politics. I fucking hate it. I don't know if there's any way to get rid of it, but it's just like we're stuck with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
Accident, thanks so much. Is that Swedish Corona?
I think it is.
I think it is. I always think, is that Swedish or is that Senegalese? Anyway, thanks for the 200, whatever they are. It must be Sweden. As a European working in border policing and irregular migration, I'm quite appalled by what's happening in the U.S. and how ICE operates. Right now, even our civilian border guards have a longer training than the ICE agents. And, you know, I love the fact that they chose the 47-day training period because Trump is the 47th president. I'm like, you know, by the way, I wouldn't have a problem if they had chosen 47 months. 4 years isn't really too long, I don't think. I mean, you know, you need 4 years to graduate with an English degree with a bachelor's. You know, I mean, you need 3 years to go to law school.
You need longer training to become a barber.
Right? Yeah, that's true. I mean, beauty school requires, beautician school requires less time.
Yeah.
Tariq, thanks for the $5. I know you touched base on it, but how shocked were you with Carney's Mark Carney from Canada, his Davos speech? Was it lip service to us Canadians, or is it a changing of the tide? I'm really glad he asked that question, John.
That's a good question.
What did you think of Mark Carney's kind of uncharacteristic, un-Canadian like?
It was sharp.
Fuck you to the U.S.
Yeah, it was sharp. I don't think it was just to drill Donald Trump. I think that Carney really is laying out a separate path. I think that the underlying message is that the United States cannot be trusted as a long-term partner anymore. And so it's time for Canada to start looking out for Canada. And if that means closer trade ties with China, then there will be closer trade ties with China. And don't forget that regardless of who happens to be in the White House, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, we have put all kinds of pressure on the Chinese to essentially wreck their relations with China. I'm sorry, we've been putting this pressure on the Canadians to wreck their relations with China because it's good for U.S. policy. You know, we want the Canadians, for example, to grab the CFO of Huawei and charge her with some kind of stupid computer hacking charge or whatever it happened to be, and then keep her in house arrest for 3 years and then say, okay, you can trade her for something else. The Canadians are tired of being used as a bargaining chip for U.S.-China relations.
I
And
also
so
took it as a wake-up call to other countries.
absolutely, this was a slap at the Americans, and it's about time that Canada took that swing.
Yeah, but I thought also it was like to the Europeans and the rest of the world, like, wake up! It's not
Yeah,
things are not the way they've always been.
yeah,
We got to do it differently from now on. All right,
that's fair.
listen, we got an ad, John, so I'm going to
Okay.
go ahead and read that. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A father strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gears, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. And Robbie says it's worth it too. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Okay. Firmware, $10. Thanks much. Humans react to the gut, not the head. Just ask Edward Bernays, Joseph Goebbels, Joe McCarthy, etc. Good people like Robbie are being used by neo-fascists to create divisions and facilitate evil. I don't know about people like Robbie. I think Robbie understands what's going on. But
Robbie just disagrees with us. That's
well, I think
bottom
Robbie's
line.
just like he's. I'll let Robbie speak for himself. Robbie, you're
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong, but my take is you want to see mass deportations, but you're not happy about the way this is going, and you're kind of hoping that somehow the mass deportation regime can be saved without. The hearts and minds of the American people here. Bob Gorell, editorial cartoonist, right winger. He was on my Facebook yesterday. I was reading, older guy, and very right wing, and he said, "Look, I remember My Lai. It's like he's like, I supported the war, but once the hearts and minds of the American people have turned against you, there's nothing you can
over.
fucking do.
It's over.
And this is one of those moments. I mean, I think that's what you're kind of like worried about here.
Yeah, I mean, I want mass deportations, but not at the expense of a police state. I mean,
Right.
if I got to have one or the other, I would rather just let wages continue to stagnate and just let the American economy implode, and they'll just self-correct. I don't want to
Open
live
the
under,
borders, open police state or open borders. You'll take open borders.
yeah, because at the end of
Okay,
the day,
so you're not being used.
no, I mean, it's a fundamental disagreement. Of the three people here on this panel, I'm the only one that's probably lost a job due to illegal immigration. I think that's probably fair to say. Also,
Although we don't know about jobs we haven't been offered because of illegal immigration, right?
Yeah, that's a great unknown. That's something that you'll never know. Another thing I like to point out is that immigration disproportionately, hurts Black people because those immigrants are competing with jobs that
Working
typically
class
went to
jobs.
Black Americans. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
that's true.
that's undeniably a fact. I have a Black wife. I know that's going to surprise some of y'all who think I'm a white supremacist or something, but I mean, it is what it is. For me, this is not racial.
Which means you
This
live
is
in a Black
economic.
supremacist household.
Oh, we have some pretty wild discussions. I mean, Ted, you've been here.
I have.
I mean, it's wild, but I mean, what the American people have lost the ability, and this really, really hurts. We have lost the ability to reach across the aisle in a populist way and discuss things that actually will affect the lives of every single American, regardless of race or creed. And we sacrificed on the altar of racism and and intellectual dishonesty.
Oh,
I want wages to
couldn't
go
agree
up. My son, I want him to be able to one day be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
He can't do that now.
Yeah, I hear
I
you.
mean, if you're trying to push a 50-year mortgage because there's enough inventory, and you're importing tens of thousands of people,
Don't get me
who's that
started
helping
on that
exactly?
inventory
Yeah.
shit. We don't need to build more houses. All right, thanks, Robbie. Anyway, okay. So, Brad Weir, thanks for the fiber. How much does the military-industrial complex contribute to inflation and the debasement of our currency? That's a super complicated question, John.
That's a good question. I'm not an economist, of course, and you probably have a better mind for economics than I do. But it seems to me that when the military-industrial complex makes so many new millionaires,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to fuel inflation, especially in things like real estate. You know, I've said before that 20 years ago, I was middle class. My new wife was middle class, and we bought a house in a middle class area of Arlington, Virginia. We tore it down and we built a nice house in which to raise our family. Well, now in our neighborhood, the average house, which is the tear down that we bought, is $2.4 million. If you want a house like what we built, it's 3.2 million. My children will never be able to live in the neighborhood in which they grew up. It's not possible. And it's not going to turn around. It's not like housing prices are going to come down.
No, if that happens, I mean, I would love that to happen, except for the fact that it would mean we're in a depression.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's like as soon as the planes hit those towers and the Pentagon, everybody started getting rich in the Washington area.
I mean, the problem with, I mean, if, in a broad macroeconomic sense, right? The problem with militarism is that you're allocating societal resources into products that have very low or negative value added. I mean, you know, like for example, you sell a car. Well, that's value added. People use that car, and it actually, you know, someone who buys a car might make more money because they could, for example, get a job that they can drive that car to.
Right.
But you build a Predator drone. It's going to go obsolete within a few years, and the Hellfire missiles that it fires are either going to be blown up somewhere or are going to, again, become obsolete. And then they're going to go into a landfill and pollute the earth. And then there's obviously, to the extent that deficit spending contributes to inflation, which is not 100%, true, but it's partly true. I mean, half of all deficit spending in this country is caused by the military-industrial complex, maybe more, at least, right? At least half the federal budget. So, I mean, it's for sure, it's having an inflationary effect. Hey, thanks for the $5. Loved your appearance on Tinfoil Hat, John. Followed you here because of that. Keep exposing the truth, corruption, and psyops.
Thanks.
I appreciate you. Firmware, $5. Not true, Robbie. I've lost jobs to Asian immigrants, tech jobs, because Asian labor is cheaper. Very true.
True.
Unsung Pat, $5. Any thoughts on Macron's Agent Smith impersonation speech? Davos. I've been thinking about it, and I conclude that he had a shiner, courtesy of Mrs. Macron. I mean,
you think that's true, huh?
It's either that, or he has this thing that, I have this like sunburn on the retina thing, but you don't have to look like Joe Biden with the dark aviator glasses to handle that. Just like you can just have tinted lens or graduated lens like I have, that'll take care of that. Ask an ophthalmologist. So it's like, he either has an eye problem or he's got something he's covering up. Those are the two possibilities. So, I think odds of eye problem, low. We know that he gets hit by Mrs. Macron. I mean, she punches him, she slaps him. He should divorce her ass, and I mean this very sincerely. He should divorce her ass, make a public statement, and basically create a moment that represents for abused men, and say, because honestly, we need. Can you
imagine what a scandal that would be?
It'd be great. I mean, we need that moment. We need like the Magic Johnson "I have AIDS" moment. Which made it like, oh, people with AIDS aren't to be reviled anymore, right? Because if Magic Johnson, he's too charming. We can't hate Magic Johnson, even if we don't really quite believe his story about how he got it. I mean, it's like that. I don't know. What do you think, John? What do you think happened there?
Honestly, I think she hits him. Yeah, I do. I think she hits him, and I never believed that until the scene at the top of the airplane steps. It was clearly she was hitting him. It was clear, I should say, that she was hitting him. So yeah, I think he's an abused spouse. But can you imagine
Fuck her. Send her to prison.
You're the president of the Fifth Republic or whatever they call themselves. You're the president himself. He's a major world leader, and his wife beats on him.
Yeah, not to mention also he's younger and better looking than she is.
Yeah.
You know, he's a great looking guy. I
He's
mean,
a very, very handsome man. That's right.
I mean, that's probably why she hits him, right? So he doesn't like get too big for his britches and run off with like some, hot like singer chanteuse, which is what he should do.
Yeah, that's right.
Chess Sniper, $10. Thanks very much. Robbie's wrong about immigration. I have benefited greatly from German immigrants who taught me a lot about engineering. They had to be imported because the Americans couldn't do the job or keep up. Wow. Look, I love the immigrants that I've met. My mother is an immigrant. Okay. I mean, it's like, that's not the issue here. I mean, Robbie's argument is that it's just that immigration is used to depress American wages. And that's true. I mean, I wish there was a way to have immigration and not fuck over American workers.
But this goes back to that idea that George W. Bush had, that he was negotiating with Vicente Fox, the president of Mexico, in the days before 9/11, the months before 9/11, where we would begin granting these 9-month work visas, mostly for menial work. They would pay taxes and have to go back for 3 months to their home countries and reapply.
Yeah.
We should have renegotiated that,
that's a better model. I have a feeling that people like Robbie would not be psyched about it, but it would certainly be an improvement. Yeah. Craig advanced, Ted, you managed not to get into building more houses to fight the cost. Well, get into it, LOL. We rent and are getting kicked out of our house so they can knock down our 1940s bungalow.
Oh.
I mean, here's all I'm trying to say is there are tens of millions of abandoned units in the United States. They should be seized under eminent domain and given to Americans who need a home. Maybe I would say that I love deals where it's like, you get this house for $100. We're going to come back in 5 years and you better have renovated it. And if you haven't, we're taking it away from you and giving it to someone who can. But I mean, give people a chance. Like, by the way, no property taxes on that. I mean, we have so much it's unconscionable to be building new houses from an ecological standpoint when you've got so many abandoned buildings all over the place.
Yeah. That's right.
Let's see. Robbie, the problem, this is from number 6. The problem isn't immigrants. The problem is that billionaires have sold you the paradigm that the immigrants took our jobs. Billionaires are the problem. Fix it. Well, that's true too.
Yeah, I mean,
that's totally true.
Yeah.
Okay. Gregory Battis, CFA. There's a lot of high-paying tech jobs that Americans can't do because we don't have the education for them. The Chinese and the Indians are far more advanced in that sector. We have to import talent. Okay, listen, I don't believe that because we have lots of underemployed STEM graduates and people. But even if that were true, why in China and India, they don't treat college as a luxury commodity like a fucking Lexus. It's like it's a necessity, and it's affordable and it's accessible to anybody who's smart enough to pass the admissions exam. We don't do that here. I mean, so maybe make college free or at least very affordable. Before you start, like, it's ridiculous. Like, we don't let people get a college education. So they're working at a fucking gas station instead of at Google where they belong. The whole thing it's fucked up. So we should hit some international stuff. One question here. Any updates on Iran? Quadruple
we should talk
Jay
about
wants
Iran.
to know.
Yeah, we should talk about Iran. The USS Abraham Lincoln carrier battle group is in the Arabian Sea off the coast of Oman. I genuinely fear what's going to happen in the coming weeks. I really do. And the reason,
good distraction from Minnesota.
Big distraction from Minnesota and from the Epstein files, which everybody forgot existed.
True.
And that was the plan. So I think that the Israelis and the Americans genuinely smell blood in the water. And they believe, rightly or wrongly, that all the Iranian government needs is a gentle shove to collapse upon itself. That's not going to be the case.
No.
Exactly. There are 150,000 members of the IRGC, the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps. They are the backbone of Iranian national security. And if the Israelis and the Americans think that once they give Iran this little shove, that people are going to rise up and overthrow the regime, that is not real life. We're going to be seen as invaders and attackers, and it's going to unite Iranians against us and to unite them against their Israeli attackers.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing good's going to come of this.
No, I agree with that. We have other stuff to hit too. Nicholas Franco's, Ted, would you say Afghanistan is a safer place than Minneapolis right now? Honestly, yeah. Under the Taliban, that's the Afghanistan is safe. I mean, really,
There's
truly.
no crime.
Yeah. By the way, we should talk about Israel. So Israel has reopened the border crossing between the Gaza Strip and Egypt, the Rafah crossing, and
Yes.
there's details are thin, but basically the Israelis have been asked, like, well, if first of all, it's for pedestrian traffic only,
Yes.
no vehicles. Why would that be? Is that just because that way you don't have to, it doesn't take as much time
No
to
smuggling.
inspect people, or
No smuggling. They'd have to dismantle every car coming in looking for weapons and ammunition.
so, and then the thing is that for people leaving Gaza, they're not being given any assurances that they would be allowed to return to the occupied territory there. If you're Palestinian, you're probably not taking this offer.
Yeah, I agree. They don't get anything out of it. Okay, so maybe they get to go to Egypt for the day. What's to guarantee that the Israelis are going to allow them back in?
I would say I'd be highly skeptical. Highly. Thanks for the $20 from John McGuire. 40 years of manufacturing management and C-suite. Immigrants, legal or illegal, are not taking your jobs now. It's automation and AI. I look forward to seeing people protesting robots.
Yeah, it's going to happen. That's the future right there.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, it's already happening. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I wish I had glasses that attach to my headphones. It'd be much easier. Robbie, the white nationalist, says, Matthew C. Nobody protested Obama because his policy wasn't violence against U.S. citizens. Go back to Europe, Robbie. Well, Robbie, first of all, you better spell Robbie's name right. It's with a Y, not an I-E. But the thing is that that's true, right? I mean, here's what's going on here. What we need, we need like a few rosy-faced white, Aryan babies to be killed by ICE, and the whole thing's going to fall apart. I mean, that's what Americans always need. You and I talked about this for months. People are going to be killed because of the way ICE is comporting itself. They are going to shoot people. They're going to shoot Americans, and predictably, they did, and they're going to do it more. And basically, that's the way American politics works. You need a martyr to get a cause.
That's absolutely true.
And Renee Good wasn't quite the right martyr at the right time because their car was involved and maybe she grazed or maybe even hit the dude. Also, she's a dyke, so we don't like that. But this guy, you just know, at the White House, they're like, fuck,
right.
He's like a nice guy, thin, they're happy about the beard. I bet they liked that. But otherwise, they're like, he's a young man and he's a nurse. Fuck, he's an ICU nurse, works at the VA hospital helping veterans. Probably the killer for them was that video that leaked of him leading the memorial service for a fallen veteran, at the hospital. And it's like, freedom isn't free. He's like reading that whole thing. I'm like thinking, oh man, they're done for. Turn them over. They're done.
That's right. That is right.
Desert Fox, thanks for the $5. Hey guys, longtime listener. Praying for your pardon, John, and thank you for your hard work, guys. What's your opinions on Iran and the drumbeat to war? I think we kind of touched upon that, but we do appreciate
I'm genuinely worried. I really am.
Thanks for the $20 for your friend John, Mike in Nottingham. John, did the CIA have any KPIs or metrics that they used to measure performance as in an officer? That's a good question. I like it.
for operations officers, case officers, the metrics were very simply, how many spies have you recruited to steal secrets? I mean, if you recruited some old lady to be a safe housekeeper and make sure that the place was clean and empty when you wanted it, for a clandestine meeting, all right, yeah, maybe you get a pat on the back, but you needed to recruit genuine spies to steal foreign secrets, or genuine penetrations of foreign intelligence services or foreign terrorist groups. That was really the sole criterion.
Sounds like a good metric to me.
Yeah.
So President Xi and the top leadership there in China is ousting a lot of their top generals. I took note of one factoid that was of great interest to me, parenthetically, where they said that the top military brass has no combat experience at this stage because they're too young to have fought in the revolution. Now, I'm going to deploy that fact the next time someone says that China represents a military threat. That like they haven't done a war in so long that they don't have any generals who know who have actual firsthand experience at them.
Interesting.
So, but anyway, so basically, according to a Chinese army newspaper editorial, basically reading between the lines, it looks like the guys who are on the outs were considered not to have been deferential enough to the president in China, and that's why they were ousted. He's looking more for like personal loyalty over sort of institutional loyalty.
Yeah.
How important is this story?
I think it's less important in the near term, especially here in the United States. I think it's much more important over the long term for the reasons that you cite. When it comes to planning, military planning, we're going to have to take into consideration that there are no senior generals with combat experience. That's very important.
Just filming, really. I heard with the CIA, the money that the U.S. sent to Ukraine, they could have ended homelessness 3 times over. Yeah, that's true. The U.S. spends more money on harming people than helping people. And then this bozo Robbie is crying about immigrants. Well, that is true. Not that Robbie's a bozo. I'm not going to say that's true because I know that's not true. Matthew, sorry, but the current setup for legal immigration is nearly impossible. Make an easier and obtainable pathway that doesn't just favor those who can afford it. Robbie is a white nationalist at heart. No, he's a nationalist, not a white nationalist. Definitely a nationalist. I agree. It's too hard to enter the United States legally. I mean, but we should be careful. We should just be like admitting the good people. I mean, honestly. Yeah. And this also, it was so interesting to me the way that Republicans have tried to turn a blind eye to this story. Reminds me of the way that Democrats ignored the Aurora, Colorado, Tren de Aragua videos of those terrifying men running through the stairwells and knocking on doors and with long guns inside, basically in public housing I'm not clear if that was public housing or a private apartment building, but it kind of was like Democrats were like, well, that building's been a piece of shit for years and this is so what? But it's like, but the right was right about that. I mean, it's ridiculous to have like Venezuelan gangbangers running around an apartment building in Colorado, and that should stop. And now it's like Republicans find themselves in the same boat. Like, you guys look ridiculous when you're blaming the guy who's just got 10 holes in his back from ICE. You look insane.
Agreed.
Very quickly, Ray, $5. Thanks. John bought 2 of your books.
Hey, thank you.
How to Disappear in Surveillance. Listen to your life story this weekend. I'm Pennsylvania born and raised too, but on the central side, Eagles territory, praying for pardon. And that will be the last word today on DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou. Please stay tuned. We'll be back. Please to TMI show with me and Mila Chan. That's coming right up right now. And please come back tomorrow morning and check out John and I at 9 a.m. Eastern time for another episode. Obviously, we'll be talking about whatever happens from Minnesota and so on. John, always great. Try to dig out of the snow. Don't dig out too much, though.
It's bad out there.
Just
bye, everybody.
Let it go. Bye.